everyone, it's Renee here with the DIY Day, and today I'm going to share with you how to do an acrylic pour. This technique is really fun and super easy, and the results are amazing. So let's get started. Let's go over the supplies I'll be using. This right here is a Liquitex professional pouring medium. What I do is I add this to the acrylic paint and it thins out the paint, making it easier to move and flow along the canvas. I also have some craft sticks or popsicle sticks, and I use these to stir the ingredients together. I also have some plastic cups. This is what I pour all the ingredients into. The acrylic paints I'll be using for this project are, this one's by Anita's and it's just plain white. This one is also by Anita's and this one is morning blue. This one is by Craftsmart and it's called pale blue. This one is also by Craftsmart and it's dark blue. And these are actually really affordable and they're probably about 70 cents a piece. I'm also going to be using rubbing alcohol. This one is 91% and it's available at pretty much any drugstore. The reason why I use this is because it creates really pretty looking cells within the paint. I also have a bottle of tap water here. I pour this within the paint mixture because it helps thin out the paint as well. I also have paper towels here for cleaning and rubber gloves to protect my hands. And last but not least is the canvas. This size is an 8 by 10 and it's by Artist Loft, and this is what the packaging looks like. One other thing I forgot to mention is be sure to cover up your workspace. This project does tend to get a bit messy and I'd hate for you to ruin your furniture or your carpet. Let's start mixing all the ingredients together. I'm going to start off with the white paint. Here's my cup. And I'm going to squeeze some of this white paint into it. Now the amount you use will vary depending on the size of canvas you use, but you can always add more to this mixture if you don't think it's enough. I'd say there's about 2 tablespoons at most of white acrylic paint in this cup. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to add the Liquitex Professional Pouring Medium to help thin it out. And with this, I'm just going to do probably about a tablespoon of this as well. And to help make it a little bit more thinner, I'm going to add some tap water. Just a little bit, maybe a couple teaspoons. Next, I'm going to stir this all together. Now there might be chunks in it and you want to remove all the chunks from this because you don't want the chunks to be on the canvas when you pour it. If it's too watery, then I would add more white paint to this. And if it's too thick, I would add more water to it. But I think the ratio for this particular one is just fine. I'm going to put this aside and I'm going to start on the next color. The next color I'll be working with is this dark blue. I'm going to do the same exact method that I did for the white paint with this dark blue. So here's my cup. I'm going to squeeze some of the blue paint into it. And I want a little bit more blue on this canvas than white or any other color, so I'm going to squeeze a bit more than I did for the white. So I think I could use a little bit more. And then again, I'm going to put in the pouring medium. Just going to do about another tablespoon or so. And then I'm going to add the water. And then I'm going to stir this and remove any chunks that might be in there. It's not too thick and it's not too watery. Okay, that should be good enough. I'm going to do the same technique for the last two paints. This time around, I'll be using the pale blue. I think I added way too much liquid in this one. So I'm going to thicken it out by adding more of the same color paint. See how it's just like dripping? It's so watered down. I added too much water to it. So to fix that, I'm just going to add more of the same color paint. Perfect. The last paint I'll be adding to this group is the morning blue. Here's my cup. Squeeze some of this in there. Add some of the pouring medium. And add some water. And now I'm going to stir. So again, I made this one a little bit too thin. So I'm going to add more paint to it. It happens. Okay, this should be good enough. Consistency looks pretty good. Now it's time to mix all these paints together. One thing I forgot to do was add the rubbing alcohol into the paint. So I'm just going to select one paint color, which I'm guessing this one, and I'm going to pour some of the rubbing alcohol into this cup. Actually, before I add the rubbing alcohol, I'm going to put a little bit more paint in here just because this is going to thin it out a bit more. The rubbing alcohol will thin it out, and I don't want it overly fluid. I'm going to pour some of that blue and stir it. And then I'm going to pour the rubbing alcohol in. And the reason, again, that I'm using rubbing alcohol is because when the alcohol is added to the paint, it creates really cool looking cells, and it gives the canvas a really neat dimension. So I'm only pouring it into 1 cup. And I would say I probably poured about 1.5 tablespoons of rubbing alcohol. And then I'm going to stir it. I'm not sure if you could see this on the video, but you could see how the alcohol is reacting to the paint. Put that down, stop stirring. Well, anyway, we're going to mix these paints together now. For the next part, I'm going to grab another cup, and I'm going to pour each of these paints into this cup. I'm going to start off with the white paint, and I'm only going to pour half of it into the cup. Next, I'm going to pour the dark blue paint on top of the white. I'm going to take the medium color blue, the one that has the rubbing alcohol in it, and pour it in next. Then I'm going to take the lightest blue and pour that on top. And then I'm going to take the rest of the white, there's not much, and I'm going to pour that on top of the rest. Go. Then I'm going to take another popsicle stick and stir it just ever so slightly. Then I'm going to take my canvas and put it on top of the cup. Like so. I'm going to move this aside just a little bit because I'm going to get the other cup and get it ready for the canvas to sit on. Okay, so here's my cup, and I'm going to get ready to pour this paint concoction onto the canvas. You ready? I'm going to take what's the leftovers in this cup, And with my popsicle stick, I'm just going to pour it on top. I'm going to take some of the blue, just what's remaining in there, and pour that on top as well. Then I'm going to help this canvas out a little bit by maneuvering the paint to the areas that it didn't get just yet. There we go. And if there's more paint in the cups, you can always pour it on these other areas, which I'm going to do. So I'm going to cover this part, the edges and the corners. There we go. One other thing, sometimes the edges don't get covered all the way, so I just take the excess paint that's fallen off of it, and I just use my popsicle stick to cover the areas of the canvas that didn't get covered. Now that the pour has been completed, you could see the cells from the rubbing alcohol. You could see how the white makes a very cool marble look to it, and it's just a really cool piece overall. And what's really great about this is it's so unique and it's one of a kind. Even if I were to mix all these same colors together again, it would never look exactly like the way this one does. Now that the canvas is complete, I would refrain from touching it or moving it for at least 24 hours. Thank you so much for watching how I do my acrylic pour. If you're interested in the supplies I use, I have it listed on my website. The link is in the description. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe below. Thank you.